your interpretation of you was you were in self, but that
Yeah,
wasn't enough to create enough safety with the person you were working with to go into that deep zone where
yeah,
the ANS is. And when you were able to access that, there was deeper levels
yeah.
of healing that you could access through these different techniques.
Yeah. Well, first, because I experienced it myself. I had the opportunity to do IFS work with the polyvagal reading of Deb, and she offered me to do a demo, an IFS demo. I was an IFS lead trainer at the time, and she would at it in the same time do the polyvagal work, the reading of my work. I was in self, but not able to manifest enough cues of safety through my body to my client, and she thought this was part of the problem. And this was a very interesting session experience, because I realized that myself, I was also blended with kind of a part which was the good one, the one doing the perfect work of the perfect IFS work, and then not really able to go to a place that was showing to me, which was under the realm of the parts of the nervous system. Before that, I couldn't really. I thought that the nervous system was accessed by the realm of parts, and in that experience, I realized that this was not the case. There was a realm of the nervous system that was really working on its own and was not accessible through the paradigm of parts. In other words, the self energy I was obviously genuinely providing to my client was not perceived as safe enough by his nervous system, autonomic nervous system, for it to really unfold and get out of what I call now dissociation. Yeah, exactly. And unblend. So the
Mhm,
key of blending is in the nervous system, in the autonomic nervous system,
mhm.
especially the big blendings, the big blending with the parts. Some blending are not can be accessed through self energy, but most of them are only accessible by co-regulation and the work through the autonomic nervous system. To my view,
Through self energy and self regulation, we can unblend from parts, conscious brain, but you're needing that deeper level co regulation to unblend from states of the nervous system and needing another nervous system to be able to do that on a deeper level.
yeah, exactly. So I would say that self energy is key. I got that from IFS, and I'm still on this line. Self energy is key,
Almost like bigger amounts of self energy when you
and
have
more
regulated.
bigger and embodied in another person.
Mhm.
This is in another person. Both selves they are complementary to each other. To
Mhm.
me, but basically, we know that this is the same self.
Mhm.
But as a human being, we need to experience it in those two dimensions, at least. Not to say that we have to experience the big one, but this is something else.
Yeah. Yeah. Relational intelligence, and it kind of makes sense from the title, really focuses more on the relationship between therapist and client in those
Yeah,
healing.
yeah,
Actually.
exactly. If needed, which is often the case.
And I think that what a lot of IFS therapists are running into right now is clients who have never been co-regulated before or who have a lot of attachment trauma or severe neglect, and it isn't safe enough for them to drop in and do insight because there's not enough safety with the therapist who's sitting across from them, or they've never been taught co-regulation growing up.
Yeah, exactly. This is exactly those experiences are embedded in the nervous system that is implicit. This autonomic nervous system. There's no words in it. There is no much consciousness about that. There's a kind of for structural reasons, it's hard for somebody to get to know this place because it is made not to be known, because it's made it's made to operate in an automatic way. So people are not safe, but don't know it, and this is by construction. They don't know it. They've never been co-regulated or insufficiently, but they don't know it. So then the therapist has to um, follow that, recognize that, put that in a word, make that explicit to create the first experiences of being seen and allow for the nervous system of the client Well, when I say nervous system, I'm talking about the autonomic nervous system, for everybody to be clear about that. So for the nervous system to start being seen and reflected and start feeling safe.
Mhm.
So, and feel, well, this is what it is to be co-regulated. It's to be seen, to be understood, to be in another, by another person.
Mhm.
And this is the very beginning of this dance that's going to happen between the nervous system and the self of the therapist through the body.
Mhm. I remember being at your training and really realizing that, because as a experienced IFS therapist, I had the assumption that I have enough self energy to hold space to access any part of my system, unconscious or conscious, but also
Ah,
through your training, noticing that there are spaces in us that we need the autonomic nervous system of another person to be
yeah.
able for us to drop down there. Mhm.
Exactly. When I refer to this experience with the Dana I talked about, I had enough self energy to hold my parts as a therapist and do the work with a client in front of everybody. I really had.
Mhm.
So, but the parts, but not to go to regulate my nervous system for the client to go deeper. This is the exactly the point you're making.
Yeah. What's formulating in my head is with parts we can do, or IFS, we can do a lot of really good healing. And with relational intelligence, you're able to go deeper and do some of that deeper healing underneath also.
Yeah, if needed. This is where we have to go in order to unlock
Mhm.
the, I would say, the brain where it needs to be.
Mhm.
Yeah, which is deeper, obviously.
And can you tell us a little bit about just how you incorporate polyvagal theory into your
Yeah,
work?
yeah. I discovered this realm under the realm of the parts through deep data
Mhm.
as a reading. You can read and understand the nervous system where it is stuck, where it is associated, and also very as and the tools that I learned from deep data to unlock and to bring co-regulation are so efficient. The polyvagal theory is the nice entry point to this nervous autonomic nervous system. It's so elegant.
Anything else, Francois, you want to name to folks watching this about relational intelligence or about your upcoming training?
Yeah, a lot of people know already about parts work, the polyvagal theory. This other piece that I brought called the cognitive co-regulation, how we can, in other words, when physical co-regulation is not able to um, allow for the nervous system of the client to get out of the dissociation, what can we do? Because at this point, we're the therapist is facing a place of powerlessness. What can I do? I cannot do anything. This person is totally stuck, and whatever I'm trying to do as an intervention, it doesn't work. So there is this piece which is to me give hope to the therapist because there are ways to address systems which are very defensive towards any kind of interventions because of deep trauma, deep developmental trauma, deep attachment trauma, which has which has led the system to be very defensive, in other words, dissociated, and getting the any interventions as unsafe, even if it comes from a place of self. There's the self-regulation, there is the co-regulation, and the co-regulation is made of two pieces, which is one cognitive and one physical. They work together, and this is named in relational intelligence the conscious therapeutic engagement. So I'm going to explain people what that is to be engaged as a therapist, what it really the help it can provide to the client, how powerful that is, what are the components of this therapeutic engagement, how safe this needs to be powerful. So we'll talk about all this.
It also sounds like this can answer the question for students or be one of the answers to the questions for students around what do I do when it feels like my client is stuck in blended parts, can't drop in and do insight, there's not enough safety. How do we
Exactly.
create? This is one really great option that students can.
Yeah, I think so. Because self is able to take many routes, and we have to just discover that and use it.
Mhm, mhm,
So
mhm.
yeah, it can be really safe, and it is so powerful.